Hey again, today I'm reviewing Halo by Alexandra Adornetto, and I will just read back the book. Is love a great enough power against evil? Three angels are sent down to bring good to the world. Gabriel the warrior, Ivy the healer, and Bethany, a teenage girl who is the least experienced of the trio. But she is the most human, and when she is romantically drawn to a mortal boy, the angels fear she will not be strong enough to save anyone, especially herself. This has been on my to-read radar, you could say, since it first came out, but I waited to actually buy it until it was in this sort of standard normal paperback. So I finally got it, read it. It was a quick read. It's 484 pages, but it doesn't feel like that. Once you start reading, it goes really quickly and doesn't feel like you're reading that much. Text pretty normal. So I'll start with the cover. This is probably one of my favourite covers ever, and I'm planning to do my top 10 fave covers like a few others have done, but I'm really struggling narrowing it down to 10, so I will try and do that and upload that as well. But I like this because it's silhouetted, and so all the colours are lovely, and I love this silver script tin. And them silhouetted against it, and so you can see that for a change she's the paranormal being and not the boy. So I like that, and I don't know if the sunset is the sort of reference to the higher power and references to God in the book, because obviously they're his messengers, the angels. So instead of it's not a religious book, but obviously the angels are God's messengers, so there are some reference to their mission, their holy mission, and things like that. And also, even though you can't really make him out, this is kind of how I pictured Xavier, because there's references to his hair falling across his eyes and things like that. But then, like on the back, the same picture is magnified, but that you can't see her wings. And I may be looking too much into this, but I think that it's showing that she's an angel, he's a mortal boy, yeah. But what really matters, what it boils down to, is a boy and a girl falling in love, and the romance is the makes up the majority of the story. Is her falling in love with Xavier, and that's not part of the siblings' plan. They come down from heaven. They're supposed to do good deeds, and it's supposed to act like a ripple effect. Other people will start doing good deeds and will have more faith and stop being, horrible to each other. They only get sent to a small place called Venus Co, but it's their mission, and other people get sent on other missions, so on and so on. But she falls for Xavier, and her brother's angry and upset about this, and he calls in a covenant, a group of high angels, and but what they think and what they rule gets overruled by a higher power. So Bethany and Xavier can be together, but then something else is thrown into their path to try and stop them being together. And as you have the good angels in this book, you also have the baddies, the agents of darkness, as they're called. So I'm not going to give too much away on that. Character-wise, Xavier, the mortal boy that she falls for, I think I am in love with Xavier. He was a great character to read. It's all from Bethany's perspective, so obviously you get a biased view of him, but from what she says, he's really nice, protective, sweet, and he's undergone tragedy in his life. He's already lost a love. His best friend from childhood and girlfriend was killed in a fire. And he's been wandering around, sort of not really realising what's missing from his life, until Bethany walks into it and he starts to feel things again. Corny but true. So that's kind of sweet from his point of view. And then Bethany, she was really trying to experience human life. She was really throwing herself into it, whereas her brother and sister are sort of resigned from it. They want to go back to heaven when their mission is done, but she gets drawn into this human life and really starts to enjoy human life, especially the aspects with Xavier. but sometimes I thought that she was a little contradictory, and this is the writing of Bethany. The angels have access to divine knowledge, so often they say, oh, they can know everything and they get to learn everything really quickly because it's just a gift. But other times I found like she was saying she didn't know what a seatbelt was. I can understand she wouldn't know how to necessarily use these things, being new to Earth, but she said that she wouldn't even know what something is. And I thought, well, you've said that she has access to all the divine knowledge, like everything that there is. So I'm a bit like, that's a little bit of a contradiction, just a bit, you know. But other than that, it's fine. She was an okay character, but sometimes I thought that she didn't spot things that were so blatantly obvious. But that's a fault with heroines in general. You think, why are you doing that? You can clearly see. But no. I would give this a 4.5 out of 5, I think, overall. And as much as I really did enjoy this book, it was paced well, it was written well, I loved the characters, and I loved the overall plot that, you know, they're angels sent down from heaven. I think that's quite refreshing. I quite like angels as the paranormal being, but I have to give it 4.5 out of 5 because I can't give it 5 because for me it doesn't beat Angel by L.A. Weatherly, and in the US it's known as Angel Burn by L.A. Weatherly. For me it just wasn't as good. I know I've built that book up to be a really high standard, but for me it is, and this being on the same sort of subject matter with angels, I just couldn't help but compare, even though they're not the same plots or anything like that, but for me it didn't reach as high as Angel did, so that's why I'm giving it 4.5. In other circumstances it may well have been a 5, but because I love Angel so much, I couldn't give this a 5 because it's not as good as Angel by L.A. Weatherly. But overall I would definitely recommend this. It's a great one for the paranormal genre, and Alexandra Adornetto is only 18. Well, she was 18 when she wrote this, I think, and she's probably 19 now. And I was curious to see how an 18-year-old would tackle like a young adult paranormal romance, and you cannot tell that she's a young adult at all. It's really good. It's better than a lot of books in this genre that I've read by adult authors. So it's a high standard of writing. Yeah, the only thing I would say is that sometimes I was annoyed in some dialogue. She would put a word that I didn't think was really necessary, tried to overcompensate maybe to show that she, you know, just because she's a young adult author, she didn't have to use simple language. I don't know, but I just felt it was completely unnecessary. Like in a sentence she says, one of the characters says, some people fall for their total antithesis. I thought, you don't need to say antithesis, you could just say opposite of what's good for them, you know. Why did you have to throw the word antithesis in this? Not that I didn't understand what it means, because I take English. So I'm not stupid, I know what it meant, but it was just like, that seemed completely unnecessary to put that word in there. But other than that, it was fine, and I would definitely recommend this if you love this genre, because it's great, and I would say check it out to see what a young adult's writing's like, and see if you can tell that it's written by a young adult, because I couldn't, and I thought it was great. And it is a lot better than some of the paranormal books that are coming out. I like this one for the plot, the characters, the romance. A little corny in places, but I'm not gonna lie, I kind of liked that. And it does sort of at the end have a conclusive ending, but then there's like an extra sentence that gets it ready for the next book, which is called Hades. That's out later this year. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this. 4.5 out of 5, and happy reading.